Good evening. We interrupt all scheduled programming for a developing and unprecedented story unfolding at this hour in the region of Egypt. Reports are coming in of a massive movement of people, hundreds of thousands, fleeing the nation after a series of catastrophic plagues devastated the land. And now, unconfirmed but escalating reports suggest that something extraordinary, something impossible, has happened at the Red Sea. Eyewitnesses claim the waters have split. Let me repeat that. The waters have split. We go first to the events leading up to tonight's dramatic developments. The air in Egypt is heavy. Not with wind, not with sand, but with grief. Torches flicker along mud brick streets. The cries of Egyptian households pierce the darkness. Doors stand open. Oil lamps burn low. The once proud empire now trembles under the weight of the 10th plague. Inside one royal chamber, Pharaoh stands motionless. His son lies lifeless. The final plague has fallen. Across Egypt, from palace to prison cell, the firstborn are gone. And in the land of Goshen? Silence. Protection. Because inside Hebrew homes, lamb's blood marks the doorposts. The destroyer has passed over. Hours earlier, Pharaoh had been defiant. Now he is broken. His voice cracks as he summons Moses and Aaron in the middle of the night. Go! No negotiation, no threats. Just one word. Go. Take your people. Leave my land. And just like that, minus 430 years of bondage shifts in a single breath. For viewers just joining us, we are tracking the sudden mass departure of the Hebrew population from Egypt following what officials are calling the worst national catastrophe in recorded history. Sources confirm that Pharaoh himself ordered their release overnight. But this story is far from over. What began as liberation is now turning into pursuit. Reports indicate that after granting their freedom, Pharaoh has reversed his decision. Chariots are being prepared. The most elite military force in the ancient world is mobilizing. We take you now to the wilderness route toward the Red Sea. The ground trembles under thousands of footsteps. Families carry kneading bowls wrapped in cloth. In cloth in me. Children cling to mothers. Livestock bleat. Elderly men lean on staffs. This is no small migration. This is a nation on the move. At the front stands Moses, not dressed as a prince, not dressed as a general, just a shepherd with a staff. By day, a towering pillar of cloud leads them. By night, a pillar of fire. They move toward the wilderness, toward the Red Sea. But behind them, dust. At first it's distant, then louder, metal clashing, hooves pounding. 600 of Egypt's finest chariots. Pharaoh rides at the front. His grief has turned to rage. What have we done? He shouts. We have released our workforce, our labor, our slaves. The Egyptian army surges forward like a storm, and the Hebrews see it. Panic spreads instantly. There are graves in Egypt. Why bring us here to die? Their freedom now feels like a trap. Before them, the Red Sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army. No weapons, no fortifications, no escape. The situation appears dire. Satellite analysis, if we may use the term metaphorically, shows the Hebrew camp pinned between the sea and the advancing Egyptian forces. Military experts agree. There is no strategic route of escape. We are told morale among the refugees is collapsing rapidly. Many are blaming their leader Moses for bringing them into what appears to be certain death. But what happens next may redefine the laws of nature itself. Night falls. The pillar of cloud shifts. It moves from the front of the Hebrew camp to the back. It positions itself between Israel and Egypt. Darkness covers the Egyptian side. Light remains on Israel's side. Two atmospheres, two realities. The Egyptian army slows. Confusion. Disorientation. On the shore, Moses stands facing the sea. The wind begins. At first gentle, then steady, then violent. An east wind howls across the water. Sand whips through the air. Children shield their eyes. Hours pass. The wind does not stop. It intensifies. The sea begins to recoil. Water pulls back. Not in waves, but in walls, higher, higher, until what was once chaos becomes division. A path emerges, dry ground, between two towering corridors of water. Fish thrash against invisible barriers. Moonlight reflects off vertical liquid walls. The impossible has happened. The sea has split in two. We are receiving confirmation. Multiple eyewitnesses report that the Red Sea has parted. A land bridge, previously submerged, is now exposed. The Hebrew population has begun crossing. This is not rumor. This is not exaggeration. This is unfolding in real time. We go back now to the shoreline. Moses lifts his staff. Move. There is hesitation. Then one child steps forward. Then a mother. Then another. Soon thousands enter the corridor. They walk between walls of water. The seabed, dry. Not mud. Dry, wind still roaring above them. On either side, the sea stands like towering glass mountains. Children stare wide-eyed at fish suspended inches from their faces. Old men whisper prayers. Women weep quietly. Each step is an act of faith. Behind them, the pillar of fire still burns, holding Egypt back. But dawn is approaching. And Pharaoh is not finished. As we conclude this first segment of our live coverage, the situation remains fluid and extraordinarily volatile. The Hebrew nation is now crossing through a divided sea. The Egyptian military is regrouping, and sunrise is nearing. Will Pharaoh pursue into the sea? Will the waters remain standing? Or will this escape turn into catastrophe? Stay with us. Because what happens next may not only change the future of one nation, it may alter human history forever. This is breaking news. The Red Sea has split in two. Welcome back to our continuing live coverage of the unprecedented developments at the Red Sea. To recap, a massive body of water has parted overnight, forming a dry passage through the sea. The Hebrew nation, formerly enslaved in Egypt, is currently crossing, but we are now receiving urgent updates. Pharaoh's army has resumed its advance. The pillar of fire that separated the two camps has lifted, and Egyptian forces are moving. What happens next may determine whether this night ends in freedom or annihilation. We take you live once again to the seabed corridor. The horizon is turning gray. Wind still tears across the exposed seabed. The Hebrews are still crossing. Thousands remain inside the corridor. At the rear, the last families hurry forward. And then, the pillar of fire fades. Darkness lifts from the Egyptian side. Pharaoh sees it. He sees the path. He sees the impossible. For a moment, even he hesitates. The sea stands like two towering walls. It defies reason. It defies nature. It defies Egypt's gods. But pride is louder than fear. Forward, he commands. The chariots roll. Hoofs strike dry seabed. Metal wheels descend into the corridor between the waters. The most powerful military force in the world charges into a miracle. Extraordinary. Against all logic, Egyptian forces have entered the divided sea. Military historians would describe this as a high-risk maneuver under unstable environmental conditions. But Pharaoh appears determined to reclaim the fleeing Hebrews at any cost. We now go back to the center of the sea passage as the two forces converge. The sound is overwhelming, wind screaming, wheels grinding, horses shrieking. The Hebrews hear it. They turn. Behind them, the thunder of pursuit. Panic erupts. They're coming! Mothers clutch children tighter. Men push forward. The corridor feels longer now. Fear spreads like wildfire. The walls of water shimmer, unstable but still standing. Moses remains near the rear. He watches, not the Egyptians. The sky. Because something is shifting. Clouds gather above. The wind changes pitch, and suddenly, lightning splits the sky. Thunder crashes. The Lord looks down from the pillar of fire and cloud. The atmosphere shifts violently. Chaos enters the Egyptian ranks. Horses rear in terror. Wheels begin to drag. Axles snap. Chariot wheels loosen. The ground beneath the Egyptians becomes unstable, sticky, difficult. The same ground that felt firm beneath Hebrew feet now grips Egyptian wheels. Panic reverses direction. This is the Lord fighting for them. Soldiers shout, "Retreat!" But retreat is no longer simple. They are deep inside the corridor, and the wind is changing. We are witnessing a dramatic reversal. Reports confirm mechanical failure across multiple Egyptian chariots. Conditions inside the sea corridor appear to be deteriorating rapidly. Eyewitness accounts suggest a supernatural element to these events. And now, sources close to Moses indicate he has received further instruction. We go back immediately. The first Hebrews are reaching the opposite shore. They stumble onto solid ground. They turn and watch. Thousands are still inside the passage. Egypt is still inside. The sky darkens again. Moses climbs a small rise of seabed rock. He lifts his staff once more. The wind that held the waters begins to weaken. The walls of water tremble. Pharaoh looks up. For the first time, fear overtakes pride. He sees the water shaking. He sees the Hebrew nation almost free. He sees judgment coming. Retreat! He screams again. But wheels are stuck. Horses are tangled. Men are shouting. And then, Moses stretches out his hand over the sea. Silence. A half-second of suspended reality. Then the roar. The walls collapse. Not slowly. Not partially. Violently. Water crashes from both sides at once. The corridor disappears instantly. Chariots flip. Horses vanish beneath waves. Soldiers are swallowed mid-shout. The sea reclaims its ground. The most powerful army on earth disappears beneath crashing water. Within moments, it is over. The Red Sea returns to its place, smooth, unbroken, as if nothing ever happened. We are confirming devastating losses within the Egyptian military. The pursuing forces have been completely overwhelmed as the waters return to their natural position. No survivors have been reported from Pharaoh's chariot divisions. The Hebrew nation now stands on the eastern shore, free, for the first time in over 4 centuries. But the emotional weight of this moment is only beginning to settle. We return to the shoreline at sunrise. The sun rises slowly. Golden light spreads across the water. Bodies and broken chariots wash onto the shore. The Hebrews stand in stunned silence. This is no longer fear. This is relief mixed with trembling. A child whispers, "We're free." An old man falls to his knees. Women begin to cry, not in terror, but in release. Chains are gone. Masters are gone. Egypt is behind them. The sea stands calm, innocent looking, as if it had not just swallowed an empire. Moses watches the horizon. He lowers his staff. His hands are shaking, not from weakness, from witnessing power. What began as an escape has become a historic and irreversible turning point. The Egyptian pursuit has ended in total collapse. The sea that stood divided through the night has returned to its place, leaving no doubt about the finality of this event. The Hebrew people now stand free on the opposite shore. But freedom brings new questions. Where will they go? How will they survive the wilderness ahead? And what does this mean for Egypt, now stripped of its military might? In our next segment, we examine the aftermath of this extraordinary event and the song that rises from the shore. You are watching continuing coverage of breaking news. The Red Sea has split in two. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are covering one of the most unprecedented events in human history. The Red Sea has split. The Hebrew nation has crossed. And Pharaoh's army has been completely overwhelmed as the waters returned at dawn. We are now witnessing the aftermath on the eastern shore, where shock is giving way to something unexpected. Celebration. But this is no ordinary celebration. It is not political. It is not military. It is worship. We go left now to the shoreline. The wind has stopped. The sea lies still, reflecting the rising sun like polished bronze. The Hebrew people stand scattered across the sand. Some stare silently at the water. Others embrace. Children run freely for the first time without fear of overseers. Then Moses steps forward. He turns toward the sea. He lifts his voice, not in command, in song. I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. The words echo across the shore. At first only a few join, then dozens, then hundreds. Soon thousands are singing. The sound rises like a wave greater than the sea itself.
This is not just relief, this is recognition. They understand now. This was not luck, not timing, not weather.
This was deliverance. We are witnessing what appears to be the first national anthem of a newly freed people. Scholars on site are calling it a spontaneous composition, a declaration of victory not by military strength, but by divine intervention. The song recounts the night's events in vivid detail. It names the enemy, it names the sea, but above all, it names the Lord. We return now as the song continues. Moses sings of strength. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. The people repeat it. Again and again, he sings of power. Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you? Majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders. The rhythm builds. Hands lift. Voices rise. Tears flow freely. Then Miriam steps forward. Moses' sister, prophetess, leader among the women. She lifts a tambourine. The sound pierces the air. Other women take tambourines. They begin to dance, not controlled, not reserved, free.
For 430 years, their bodies labored under whips. Now those same bodies move in joy. Miriam sings, "Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously."
The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. The women respond. Call and response. Echoing down the shoreline. History is being written in melody. What we are seeing here is more than celebration. It is identity forming in real time.
For generations, these people were known only as slaves.
Now they are defining themselves as the redeemed. But even as joy fills the air, questions linger.
Freedom from Egypt does not mean immediate comfort.
Beyond this shoreline lies wilderness. And wilderness tests faith differently than oppression. We go now beyond the celebration, to the road ahead. The singing fades into memory. The sand stretches endlessly. The sun beats down without mercy. Waterskins grow lighter. Children grow quieter. The adrenaline of escape has worn off. 3 days pass. No water. Tongues swell. Lips crack. Murmuring begins. Again, the same people who sang now whisper doubt. Was it better in Egypt? There we had water. They come upon a pool. Relief surges. People rush forward. They scoop water to their lips, then spit it out. Bitter. Undrinkable. The place will later be called Mara. Bitterness. The people turn on Moses. What shall we drink? The same leader who stretched out his staff now faces accusation. Deliverance memory fades quickly under discomfort. Moses cries out to the Lord. He is not triumphant now. He is desperate. The Lord shows him a piece of wood. He throws it into the water. The bitterness disappears. The water becomes sweet. The same God who split a sea can sweeten a spring. But this miracle is quieter, less dramatic, more personal. This development highlights a critical transition. The Red Sea was a public miracle, visible, undeniable, national. But the wilderness requires daily trust. Sources indicate that the Lord is now teaching the people something deeper than escape, dependence. We are also receiving early reports that this journey is not random. There is a destination, a covenant, a mountain. But before they arrive there, more tests await. We return once more to the desert path. The people camp under the vast desert sky. Stars blaze overhead. The pillar of fire stands once more in the distance. Children sleep. Mothers whisper stories of the sea. Fathers sit quietly, still processing the scale of what they saw. An elderly man looks toward the water far behind them. He murmurs, "We will tell our children's children about this night, because this was not just an escape. It was a revelation. The God of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, is not distant. He intervenes. He judges. He judges. He makes a way where none exists." But the wilderness stretches ahead, and faith must stretch with it. As the Hebrew nation settles into its first nights of freedom, the magnitude of what has occurred continues to unfold. An empire has fallen behind them. A sea has obeyed. A song has risen. But freedom is only the beginning of the story. Ahead lies covenant, law, promise, and the shaping of a people who will carry this testimony for generations. In our final segment, we will examine the larger implications of this event, not just for Egypt or Israel, but for the course of history itself. You are watching continuing coverage of breaking news. The Red Sea has split in two. Welcome back to the final segment of our live coverage of one of history's most extraordinary events, the parting of the Red Sea. In the last 3 segments, we've seen escape, pursuit, and celebration. Tonight, we step back to look at the larger picture. Not only the immediate rescue of the Hebrew people, but the birth of a nation in the wake of divine intervention. We take you once more to the wilderness. The Hebrew people move slowly through the desert. Dust swirls around sandals and staffs. The air is hot, yet there is a sense of purpose. The children play among the rocks. Mothers prepare simple meals. Fathers organize supplies. Moses walks at the front, staff in hand, eyes scanning the horizon. Behind them lies Egypt. Chaos, loss, defeat. Ahead lies the unknown. Mountains, deserts, and covenant. At night, the pillar of fire burns brighter than ever. It does not merely light the path, it inspires trust. The people begin to speak of what has just occurred. It was not our strength, one man whispers. It was the Lord's hand, replies a woman nearby. A community forms, not merely by shared survival, but by shared miracle. Their identities shift from slaves to a chosen people, bound not by oppression, but by experience and promise. Observers note that this is the moment when Israel begins to see itself as a nation. In a single night, faith became tangible. The miracle of the sea created not only physical freedom, but social cohesion and identity. It is important to remember. History remembers those who bear witness. Stories told by survivors here will carry through generations, shaping culture, law, and belief. The night sky blankets the desert. Around small fires, elders recount the night of deliverance. Children stare wide-eyed, memorizing every detail. Songs from the shore have become lullabies. Moses sits apart, meditating. He reflects not on the power displayed, but on the responsibility entrusted. A nation is not born from freedom alone. It is forged through guidance, law, and covenant. Soon he stands and speaks to the people. The Lord has saved us, and he will continue to lead us. Trust in him. Obey his commands, and the wilderness will not destroy you. For what was impossible has become possible, and we are his chosen. The people nod. Hope fills the air, a quiet, steady certainty. This segment demonstrates that miracles are not simply events. They are catalysts. The parting of the Red Sea reshaped lives, history, and faith itself. Historical analysts note that this is one of the earliest documented examples of a collective narrative creating a national identity. Faith, culture, and community intersected at the water's edge, giving birth to something that would persist for millennia. As dawn breaks over the desert horizon, the people move forward, leaving the shore behind. The sea is calm, serene, reflecting the sunlight like polished glass. Its walls are no longer towering, but the memory remains. This path, once treacherous, has become a foundation. The Hebrews carry with them lessons of trust, courage, and divine protection. They know the journey will be long. There will be hunger, thirst, and trials. But they also know one undeniable truth. The God who split the sea is faithful. The God who rescued them in history's most impossible hour will guide them toward promise. Tonight, we have witnessed more than a miraculous escape. We have seen the birth of a nation, forged in adversity, united by faith and destined for a story that will echo across generations. The Red Sea has split, an empire has fallen. A people has risen, and a story has begun that will be told for millennia. From the shores of the Red Sea to the mountains beyond, the legacy of this night will endure, not just in scripture, but in the hearts and minds of every generation that hears of it. This has been our continuing coverage of breaking news. The Red Sea has split in two. Thank you for joining us. Before we conclude tonight's broadcast, we remind viewers that the events reported are reported in the Holy Scriptures. What you have witnessed is written in the book of Exodus. The account of the deliverance at the Red Sea can be found in Exodus chapter 14, the crossing of the Red Sea. Exodus chapter 15, the song of Moses and Miriam. This moment marked the birth of a nation and the revelation of a God who makes a way where there is no way. Good night. Exodus 14:21-22. Night. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. And all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. Exodus 14:30-31. Nev, that day, the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses his servant. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14.